Close your eyes and let the weight of the modern world slowly lift away. Imagine a time of towering stone castles and gold-leafed mirrors. But behind this beauty, there was a deep silence and a strange fear. In the 16th century, the most powerful monarchs in Europe lived in a world where water was considered a silent killer. Doctors of that era believed that hot water opened the pores of the skin, inviting diseases and the deadly plague to enter the body. Because of this belief, the concept of a bath was almost non-existent. Queen Elizabeth I famously bathed once a month, a frequency that was considered extreme for her time. King Louis XIV of France was said to have bathed only a handful of times in his entire adult life. Instead of water, they relied on dry rubbing with linen cloths. Imagine the layers of dust, oils, and history that stayed on their skin for years, hidden under robes of velvet and silk. To manage the grime of daily life without water, royalty developed the concept of the linen shield. Every royal woman wore a shift or a chemise made of pure white linen directly against her skin. They believed that linen had a mystical ability to pull impurities out of the body. A queen might change her linen shift 3 or 4 times a day, but her skin would not touch a drop of water for weeks. To them, if the linen stayed white, the body was clean. As you listen, imagine the rustle of that heavy fabric. The constant changing of clothes was their only weapon against the invisible buildup of the world. It was a life of surface level purity, a mask of cleanliness worn over a reality of sweat and stagnant air. Walking through a palace in the 1700s was an assault on the senses. With hundreds of people living in close quarters without modern plumbing, the air was heavy. To create a private world of comfort, royal women became masters of scent. They wore pomanders, exquisite gold spheres filled with musk, and dried flowers hanging from their waists. Whenever the smell of the court became too much, they would lift the pomander and breathe in a different world. Their gloves were soaked in jasmine and neroli for weeks to hide the smell of tan leather. These scents were not just for beauty. They were a shield, a floral barrier against the harsh reality of their surroundings. Breathe in slowly, and imagine the scent of ancient roses and lavender filling the quiet spaces of your mind. Perhaps the most famous part of royal fashion was the hair. As the decades passed, hairstyles grew taller and taller. These were not natural. They were built using wire frames and stuffed with horsehair or wool. To keep everything in place, stylists used a thick paste made of animal fat. This was called pomade. Once these structures were built, they stayed on the head for weeks or even months. The animal fat would eventually turn rancid, and the smell of rotting grease would attract pests. Lice were a constant companion, but sometimes even small mice would find their way into the warm, dark layers of a duchess's hair. To deal with the constant itching, royal women carried scratching sticks. These were long, elegant rods made of ivory or silver. They had a tiny carved hand at the tip. During a royal dinner, it was perfectly normal for a lady to slide the silver hand deep into her hair to scratch an itch caused by a nesting insect, all while maintaining a calm, royal smile. Beyond the smell and the pests, there was the makeup. The ideal of beauty was to have skin as white as porcelain. This was partly to hide the scars of smallpox, which was very common. To achieve this look, women used Venetian ceruse. It was a thick, white paint made from lead. They would paint their faces, necks, and shoulders until they looked like statues. Because washing was rare, they would simply paint a new layer over the old one every morning. Over time, the lead would poison their blood. Their skin would turn yellow and shrivel, their teeth would rot, and their hair would fall out. They were literally dying for their beauty, trapped in a mask of lead that they could never truly take off. The palaces are empty now. The gold has faded, and the heavy scents have vanished into the wind. The struggles of these women are over, leaving behind only the quiet echoes of their footsteps. Now, it is time for you to let go of their stories. Let the silence of the past wrap around you like a soft blanket. The air around you is clean. Your bed is a place of peace. As the music takes over, Let your thoughts drift like dust motes in a sunbeam. There is nothing more to do, and nowhere else to be. Just breathe. Just sleep. Good night. Now, let the heavy oak doors of the palace close behind you as we step into the private chambers of the queen. In the 17th century, every shadow in these high-ceilinged rooms was filled with meaning. Life was governed by a strange mix of absolute power and deep-seated fear. People believed that a bird flying into a room was a direct message from the beyond, or that a mirror cracking would fracture the soul of the monarch. This constant state of alertness meant that royalty never truly felt alone or safe. Even in sleep, they were surrounded by guards and ladies of the bedchamber who slept on small pallets at the foot of the royal bed. Imagine the sound of multiple people breathing in one room, the rustle of straw mattresses, and the occasional clink of a guard's armor in the hallway. These were the rhythms of a royal night, never truly silent, always watched. Breathe out slowly and appreciate the absolute privacy of your own quiet space. As we move from the bedroom to the grand galleries, consider the lighting. There were no bright switches to flip. The world ended where the candlelight faded. Thousands of beeswax candles were burned every night, filling the air with a heavy, sweet scent and a fine layer of soot that settled on everything: the paintings, the silk tapestries, and even the lungs of those living there. This dim, flickering world made the tapestries look alive, the woven figures of hunters and gods appearing to move as the flames danced. It was a world of illusions, where reality was soft and blurred at the edges. Now, let those flickering lights grow dim in your mind. The heavy velvet curtains are being drawn, the last candle is being extinguished with a silver snuffer, and the palace is finally surrendering to the dark. The cold stone walls hold the heat of the day for only a short time before the chill of the night takes over. But you are warm. You are away from the soot, the superstitions, and the constant gaze of the court. Your journey through history is coming to a gentle rest. The stories of the past are like autumn leaves, falling softly and covering the ground in a blanket of silence. Let your thoughts become as still as a frozen lake in midwinter. There is nothing left to hear, nothing left to see. The history of the world is a long, winding road, but for tonight, you have reached your destination. Sleep now, as the ghosts of the old world fade into the mist of time. Good night. The grand silence, secrets of the royal gardens, and hidden halls. The night deepens. Let us step out of the heavy stone walls and into the vast, manicured gardens of the palace. In the 18th century, these gardens were not just for beauty. They were a display of total control over nature. Imagine miles of gravel paths that crunch softly under your feet. The hedges are cut into perfect geometric shapes, standing like silent soldiers in the moonlight. In these gardens, royal women found their only moments of escape, walking slowly under the shadows of willow trees. But even here, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the heavy perfume of thousand-year-old rose bushes. The fountains, which roared during the day to impress visitors, are now silent, their marble basins reflecting the cold light of the stars. Breathe in that cool, midnight air and feel the stillness of the trees. Back inside the palace, the servants are moving like ghosts through the back corridors. These hidden hallways were the veins of the building, narrow and dark, where the smell of wood smoke and old tallow candles lingered forever. While the kings and queens slept in silk, the people who served them lived in these cramped, wooden spaces. Above the ceilings, the sound of a floorboard creaking above a royal bed was enough to start a rumor of a haunting. In those days, everyone believed in spirits. They thought the cold drafts that blew through the long galleries were the breath of ancestors watching over the crown. This made the night a time of great reverence and fear. Every shadow on the wall, cast by a dying ember in the fireplace, looked like a figure from a forgotten century. But as you listen now, those shadows are just patterns of peace. The world of high stone walls and golden thrones is far away. Imagine the heavy iron keys turning in the locks for the final time tonight. The gates are closed, The horses in the stables are asleep in their hay. The carriage wheels have stopped their rhythmic rattling on the cobblestones. The long, winding road of history has finally come to a quiet garden where time does not move. You are sitting on a stone bench in this garden, wrapped in a heavy velvet cloak. The air is perfectly still. No one is watching you. No one is waiting for you. There are no letters to sign, no laws to pass, and no masks to wear. You are just a soul in the silence. The history of the great empires is just a whisper in the wind now. Let that whisper pull you down into the soft grass of your mind. The stars above the palace are the same stars above your window tonight. They have watched over thousands of years of sleep, and they are watching over you now. Feel the weight of your limbs, heavy and relaxed, like ancient statues in the palace hall. Your breath is the only sound in the universe. Slowly, even the stories of the queens and their lead makeup, the kings and their fear of water, and the grand feasts are fading into a blur of gray and silver. The colors of the world are washing away into the deep blue of a dreamless night. You are drifting on a calm river that flows away from the palace, away from the noise of the past, and into the ocean of true rest. There is a vast space of nothingness ahead of you, and it is beautiful. It is warm. It is safe. The light of the moon is a soft blanket over your eyes. Sleep is not just a rest for the body, but a journey for the heart. Let yourself go. Let the history books close. The ink is dry. The story is finished. There is only peace. There is only the dark kind. Night. Sleep now. Deep, heavy, and perfect sleep. Good night. The midnight watch. Dust, dreams, and the eternal dark step softly now as we enter the most private world of all, the royal bedchamber at 3 in the morning. In this era, the night was not just a time for rest, but a time of profound mystery. The walls are covered in heavy silk damask that absorbs every sound, making the room feel like a velvet box. Outside, the world of the court is finally still. The endless gossip, the sharp words, and the political games have all dissolved into the shadows. Imagine the king or queen lying in a bed so large it feels like a room of its own. The mattress is stuffed with thousands of goose feathers, making the body sink deep into a soft, warm cloud. But even in this luxury, there is the scent of the past, the faint smell of old lavender, and the metallic tang of cold silver. Breathe in slowly and feel the weight of your own bed, a sanctuary far away from the burdens of a crown. In the silence of the night, the palace speaks in creaks and whispers. The heavy oak beams settle, and the wind moans in the wide chimneys. To the people of the past, these were the voices of the palace itself. They believed that the air of the night carried spirits, and so they kept the heavy bed curtains tightly drawn. Inside that small, dark space, the only light came from a single, low-burning rushlight. It cast a golden glow on the carved wood, turning the figures of angels and lions into flickering companions. This was a world of segmented sleep, where the mind was allowed to wander between dreams and reality for hours. There was no rush to wake up, no alarm to sound. The night was a vast, open ocean, and they were content to drift upon it. Now, let yourself drift as well. The heavy curtains of history are closing around you, protecting you from the noise and light of the modern world. You are safe in the dark. The dust of the centuries is settling, covering the gold and the marble in a fine, silver mist. Everything that once seemed so important, the wars, the jewels, the grand processions, is now just a faint echo. The great stone staircases are empty. The candles have all burned down to pools of wax, and the moon is the only lamp left in the sky. Your heart is beating in time with the slow, rhythmic pulse of the night. There is no more history to learn. Tonight, no more secrets to uncover. The long, winding corridors of the past have led you to this moment of absolute peace. Let your thoughts become like smoke, rising slowly and vanishing into the high, dark rafters. The world is asleep, and you are part of that great, beautiful silence. Sleep now, as the palace turns to stone and the story melts into the stars. Good night. The eternal echo. Secrets of the royal crypts and starlit halls. The silence of the palace gardens fades behind us. We move into the deepest, most mysterious part of the royal estate, the long, echoing galleries that lead to the private chapels and ancient crypts. In the 19th century, these spaces were kept in a state of eternal twilight. The air here is different. It is cool, still, and carries the faint, dry scent of old paper, incense, and stone dust. This is where the ancestors of the kings and queens rest, their stone effigies lying in perpetual sleep with their hands folded in prayer. Imagine walking down this hallway at midnight. Your footsteps are muffled by the thick, dust-covered runners of crimson carpet. The walls are lined with portraits of people who once held the world in their hands, but now, they are only ghosts in the candlelight. Their eyes seem to follow you not with judgment, but with the quiet understanding that time eventually claims everything. Breathe in slowly and feel the peace of this timeless space. There is no urgency here, no ticking clocks, and no demands for your attention. Moving further into the heart of the palace, we find the secret libraries. These were rooms filled from floor to ceiling with leather-bound books, some of which had not been opened for 300 years. The smell of old glue and vellum is thick and comforting. In these rooms, the world was silent. The only sound was the occasional pop of a log in the fireplace or the soft scratching of a quill pen. Royalty came here to hide from the pressure of the court, to lose themselves in maps of lands that no longer exist or poems written by long-dead dreamers. Imagine yourself sitting in a high-backed velvet chair in this library. The fire is burning low, turning into a pile of glowing orange embers. The outside world, with all its noise and light, has completely vanished. You are surrounded by the wisdom and the silence of the ages. Let that silence wrap around you now. Your body is becoming as heavy as those old leather books. Your thoughts are drifting like the fine dust motes dancing in the faint moonlight that filters through the tall, narrow windows. The history of empires is a long, slow river, and you are simply drifting on its calm surface. As we move towards the conclusion of our midnight journey, imagine the very last candle in the grand hallway being snuffed out. The smoke rises in a thin, silver spiral and then disappears into the dark rafters. The palace is now a giant stone anchor, holding the past in place while the rest of the world moves on. The horses in the courtyard have stopped their restless shifting in the hay. The owls in the bell tower have finished their hunt and are now silent watchers of the night. The heavy iron gates, which have stood for centuries, are cold to the touch and locked tight against the wind. You are safe. You are warm. You are far away from the chaos of the living. The rhythm of your breathing is the only thing that matters now. It is slow, deep, and steady. Every breath takes you further away from the stories of lead makeup and unwashed queens, and deeper into the land of pure, dreamless rest. The palace, with all its gold and its secrets, is fading into a blur of gray and soft blue. The stars above the stone towers are beginning to dim as the night prepares to turn into dawn. But that dawn is still many hours away. For now, there is only the dark. There is only the quiet. There is only the peace that comes when the story finally ends. Your eyes are heavy, your mind is still, and your heart is at rest. The echoes of the past have finally fallen silent. Sleep now, as the world turns beneath you. Sleep now, as the shadows become one with the night. Good night. The infinite calm, the silent heavens above the stone terraces, the last echoes of the palace library fade away. Let your mind drift even further, beyond the stone walls, and past the heavy iron gates. Look up into the vast, dark sky that has stretched over the world since the beginning of time. In the 18th century, people looked at these same stars with a sense of wonder and deep peace. To them, the night sky was a silent ocean of light, a map of the divine that watched over kings and commoners alike. Imagine the coolness of the night air on your skin as you stand on the highest balcony of the palace. The city below is a sea of shadows, the only light coming from the faint glow of a few dying street lamps. The noise of the world, the clatter of horses, the shouting of merchants, the ringing of church bells has completely vanished. There is only the wind, whispering through the stone battlements. Breathe in this absolute stillness. Every star above you is a distant sun, shining with a light that has traveled for thousands of years just to reach your eyes tonight. In this moment, time itself seems to slow down. The centuries of history we have explored, the lead makeup, the unwashed linen, the towering hairstyles all seem like tiny, unimportant specks against the backdrop of the universe. The universe does not hurry. It simply exists in a state of eternal calm. Let that calm enter your heart now. Feel your body becoming lighter, as if the gravity of the earth is slowly releasing its hold. You are no longer tied to the worries of the day or the stories of the past. You are a part of the starlight, a part of the infinite dark. The palace behind you is turning into a silhouette, a mere memory in the mist. The heavy tapestries, the golden thrones, and the dusty books are all dissolving into the velvet night. Imagine yourself floating slowly away from the palace towers, rising higher and higher until the earth becomes a soft, glowing orb below you. Here, there is no sound at all. There is only the rhythmic, peaceful beating of your own heart. The air is thin and pure, carrying no scent of smoke or perfume. You are in the realm of true silence. This is the place where all stories end and where all rest begins. Every muscle in your body is now completely relaxed, as loose as a silk ribbon in the breeze. Your mind is as clear as a mountain lake in the moonlight, its surface perfectly still without a single ripple. The history of humanity is just a long, quiet dream that you are slowly waking up from, or perhaps falling deeper into. Let the darkness be a soft, warm ocean that supports you. You are safe in this vastness. There are no boundaries here, no walls to contain you, and no roles to play. You are not a viewer or a listener anymore. You are the silence itself. The stars are blinking slowly, like eyes closing in sleep. The moon is a silver cradle, rocking you into a state of perfect peace. As the earth turns slowly below, bringing dawn to other lands, your part of the world remains in a deep, protective shadow. This shadow is a gift, a space for you to let go of everything. The stories of the past are now like grains of sand at the bottom of a deep sea, settled and still. There is nothing left to think about, nothing left to imagine. The words are becoming a soft hum, a vibration that lulls you into the deepest rest you have ever known. The world is at peace. The palace is at rest. The stars are watching over you. Breathe, relax, drift. Let the night take you wherever you need to go. Sleep now, in the arms of the infinite. Good night. The winter silence. Snowfall over the forgotten empire. Now imagine the season has shifted. The humid, heavy nights of the past are gone, replaced by the crisp, biting air of a royal winter. Outside the thick stone walls of the palace, the world has turned white. A soft, relentless snow is falling, covering the grand statues, the iron gates, and the silent fountains in a thick blanket of silver. In the 19th century, winter in the palace was a time of deep isolation. The great halls were impossible to heat, and so life retreated to small, cozy rooms filled with the scent of burning pine and cedar. Imagine yourself sitting by a massive stone fireplace. The flames are dancing in a rhythmic, hypnotic pattern, casting long, warm shadows across the oriental rugs and the dark wood paneling. The heat from the fire is like a physical embrace, a shield against the freezing world outside. Breathe in the scent of the wood smoke and feel the absolute comfort of being warm while the world is cold. In this winter silence, even the servants move more slowly. The sound of the snow hitting the window panes is a soft, shushing noise, as if the universe itself is telling the world to be quiet. There are no carriages moving tonight. The cobblestone roads are buried under a foot of untouched powder. The horses are breathing clouds of steam in their warm stalls, their heads heavy with sleep. Inside the palace, the long galleries are dark, lit only by the faint blue reflection of the moon on the snow outside. This is a time of deep reflection, a time when the past feels closer than ever. Imagine the people who sat by the same fire 100 years ago, watching the same snowflakes fall against the same glass. Their worries have faded, their voices are silent, and their stories are now just part of the stone and the mortar. You are the only one awake in this winter dream. Let the coldness of the world outside make you feel even more secure in your nest of blankets. Your body is heavy with the kind of tiredness that only comes on a winter night. Every breath you take is slow and deep, filling your lungs with peace. The fire in the hearth is slowly dying down, the bright yellow flames turning into a soft, red glow. The logs are settling with a faint, comforting click. Outside, the wind has died down, leaving the palace in a state of perfect, crystalline stillness. You are drifting now, like a single snowflake caught in a gentle updraft, floating effortlessly through the dark, quiet air. There is no destination, no goal, and no hurry. You are simply moving with the rhythm of the night. The history of the kings and queens, the gold and the lead, the wars and the weddings, it is all being buried under the snow of forgetfulness. The world is becoming a blank, white page, waiting for a story that hasn't been written yet. But for now, the page is empty, and that is where the most beautiful rest is found. Let your mind wander through the snowy woods beyond the palace, where the trees are heavy with ice, and the only sound is the occasional snap of a frozen branch. It is a world of pure, untouched peace. Feel your heart rate slowing down, matching the slow pace of the falling snow. You are sinking deeper into the softness of the night. The shadows in the room are growing longer as the last ember fades. The darkness is not cold. It is a warm, velvet darkness that loves you and protects you. You are part of the winter, part of the silence, and part of the dream. Sleep now, as the snow covers the world in a blanket of eternal calm. Sleep now, as the palace becomes a quiet island in a sea of white. Good night. The pre-dawn stillness, the mist between the centuries, the winter snow continues to fall in silence. Let us move toward that mysterious time of night, just before the first light of dawn. This is the hour of the blue mist, when the palace feels less like a building of stone and more like a dream that is slowly beginning to fade. In the 17th and 18th centuries, this was the time when the night watchmen would make their final rounds, their lanterns casting long, swinging shadows against the damp garden walls. The air is at its coldest now, a pure and sharp cold that makes the world feel brittle and still. Imagine yourself standing on a high, arched bridge over the palace moat. The water below is dark and perfectly flat, reflecting the moon like a sheet of black glass. There is a thick, white mist rising from the water, swirling around the base of the towers and hiding the ground from view. You are standing between the earth and the sky, between the past and the future. Breathe in the damp, cool scent of the mist and feel the absolute quiet of the world. Even the owls have gone to sleep now. The only sound is the very faint, rhythmic dripping of melting ice from the eaves of the roof. In these moments before dawn, the palace belongs to no one. The kings and queens are deep in their feather beds, their crowns resting on velvet cushions, and the servants are still huddled in their blankets. This is your time. It is a time of total freedom from the demands of the waking world. Imagine the long, echoing hallways we have walked together, the rooms filled with lead makeup, the towering hair, the unwashed linen, and the heavy books. All of it is now resting under a layer of blue shadows. The history we have explored is like a long, winding staircase that has finally led you to this open window. Looking out into the mist, you can see the faint silhouettes of the old oak trees, their branches heavy with frost. They have stood here for 500 years, watching the world change while they remain the same. Let your heart beat in time with the slow, deep life of the trees. Your mind is now as calm as the frozen moat, untroubled by any thought or worry. The story of humanity is just a whisper in the wind that is now dying down. You are drifting into the space between the breaths of the world. Every part of your body is heavy, yet you feel as if you are floating. The darkness of the night is beginning to soften, turning from deep charcoal to a gentle, smoky lavender. But the sun is still far below the horizon. There is still plenty of time to stay in this peaceful, gray world. Imagine the heavy velvet curtains of the bedchambers being pulled just a little tighter against the coming light. The world is not ready to wake up yet, and neither are you. You are sinking into the deepest part of the night, where the dreams are the most vivid and the rest is the most profound. The palace, with its gold leaf and its secrets, is becoming a blur of soft edges. The memories of our journey through history are like the fading embers of a fire, warm, glowing, but slowly turning to ash. You don't need to hold on to them anymore. You don't need to remember anything. The silence is your home now. Let the blue mist wrap around you, tucking you into a world where time has no meaning. There is no morning. There is no yesterday. There is only this perfect, still moment. Your eyes are closed, and your spirit is at rest. The night has given you its greatest gift, the gift of total uninterrupted peace. Sleep now, as the stars finally blink out. Sleep now, as the world waits in silence for a dawn that is still 1,000 years away. Good night.
The final fade, dissolving into the river of time. The blue mist of the pre-dawn hour has now settled over every stone and every leaf of the royal estate. We have traveled through centuries of human history, through the damp corridors of the Middle Ages, the lead-painted faces of the Renaissance, and the silent, snowy gardens of the winters past. But now, even those memories are beginning to dissolve. Imagine a grand, ancient clock in the palace hallway, a clock that has ticked for 500 years. Its pendulum moves slowly, back and forth, cutting through the silence of the dark. But as you listen, the ticking becomes softer and slower. The mechanical heart of the palace is winding down, surrendering to the absolute stillness that existed before any kingdom was ever built. Breathe in deeply and let the rhythm of your own heart replace the ticking of the clock. You are moving beyond the world of human events, beyond the rise and fall of empires, and into a space of pure, unchanging peace. The palace itself is starting to fade at the edges, turning back into the dust and starlight from which it was born. The golden thrones are melting into the sunlight of 1,000 years ago. The heavy velvet curtains are turning into clouds. You are floating on the very edge of sleep, where the stories of the past become the dreams of the future. Imagine a wide, calm river flowing silently behind the palace walls. This is the river of time, and its water is dark, cool, and perfectly still. You are stepping into a small wooden boat on this river. There are no oars, for there is no need to steer. The current is gentle and kind, pulling you away from the shore of history and toward the horizon of eternal rest. As the boat drifts, the silhouette of the palace grows smaller and smaller until it is just a tiny speck against the vast, dark sky. The stars above are not just lights, they are the quiet observers of all that has ever been. They do not judge, they do not demand, they only shine. Feel the coolness of the water beneath the boat and the softness of the air against your face. Every tension in your body has washed away into the river. Your hands are heavy, your legs are still, and your mind is as vast and empty as the night sky itself. There are no more kings to study, no more queens to remember, and no more secrets to uncover. The journey is complete. The long, winding road has led you back to yourself, to this moment of absolute, perfect silence. The darkness is now a deep, protective cradle, rocking you into a sleep that is as old as the earth. The world is safe. The night is long. And you are exactly where you are meant to be. The colors of the world have all turned to shades of indigo and midnight blue. The last whisper of the story is caught in the wind and carried far away over the silent mountains. There is nothing left to do but let go. Let go of the light. Let go of the sound. Let go of the world. You are sinking into the heart of the night, into the softest part of the dream. Sleep now, as the river carries you home. Sleep now, as the stars watch over your rest. Sleep now, for the history of the world is finally at peace. Good night. The root of the castle, the silent earth and ancient stones. As the river of time carries you further away from the visible world, let us descend one last time, not into the rooms of silk and gold, but into the very foundations of the palace. Beneath the grand ballrooms and the silent libraries lies a world that the kings and queens never visited, a world of ancient stone, damp earth, and an absolute silence that has existed for 1,000 years. Imagine the cool, heavy air of these subterranean passages. There are no windows here, no moonlight, and no sound of the wind. The walls are made of massive blocks of granite, carved by hands that have long since turned to dust. These stones carry the weight of the entire palace above them, yet they do not complain, they simply exist in a state of eternal patience. Breathe in the earthy, mineral scent of the deep stone and feel the grounding strength of the world beneath you. In this darkness, there is no sense of time. A century feels like a second, and 1,000 years is just a long afternoon. Here, the history of empires feels like a distant, unimportant dream. Imagine yourself sitting against one of these cool stone walls. The darkness is so complete that you cannot tell where your body ends and the air begins. It is a protective, heavy darkness, the kind of darkness that existed before the first star was ever born. Let your mind sink into this earth. Every muscle in your body is now part of the stone, solid and still. Your heartbeat is the slow, steady pulse of the mountain. Far above your head, the world of people and power is continuing its restless dance, but down here, nothing ever changes. There are no mirrors here to show you your face, no lead makeup to poison your skin, and no heavy hair to weigh you down. You are just a soul in the silence of the deep earth. As we move through these quiet tunnels, imagine the water that trickles slowly through the cracks in the rock, single drops of water that have taken decades to travel from the surface to this hidden world. Each drop is a small, liquid jewel, falling into a silent pool with a sound that is so soft, it is almost a thought. Let that sound guide you deeper into the heart of the earth. You are moving toward the center of all things, toward the place where the world began and where it will eventually return. The history we have shared, the stories of the unwashed royalty, the winter snows, and the misty bridges, are all drifting away like smoke in a vast cavern. You are entering a state of existence that is beyond words and beyond thought. The silence here is not empty, it is full of peace, a peace so dense and heavy that it feels like a warm blanket wrapping around your soul. The heavy stone doors of the world are closing behind you, locking out the noise, the light, and the chaos of life. You are in the sanctuary of the roots, the place where everything is still, where everything is safe, and where everything is at rest. The palace above is fading into a memory of a memory. The stars are gone. The sun is gone. There is only the cool, kind earth. Let yourself dissolve into this ancient quiet. There is nothing to wait for, nothing to fear, and nothing to do. You are home. You are silent. You are asleep. Good night. The final silence, awakening in the heart of the palace. The whispers of the past are now becoming so faint that they are almost indistinguishable from the sound of your own breathing. We have journeyed through the damp corridors of history, felt the weight of leaden beauty, and watched the snow settle over silent empires. But as the dawn begins to break the hold of the night, the palace itself starts to change. The heavy stone walls are no longer barriers, they are becoming as light as the morning mist. Imagine the first gray light of the sun touching the very top of the highest tower. It is a light that does not burn, but gently strokes the cold granite, waking the building from its long, deep slumber. But you are not part of that awakening yet. You are still tucked away in the soft, dark folds of the night. Breathe in and feel the immense peace of having no place to be and no role to play. The history we have shared is now a finished book, its pages closed and its ink dry. The secrets of the unwashed queens and the fear of the water have dissolved into the vast ocean of time. As you drift on the silent sea, the stars are finally closing their eyes, one by one. The moon is a pale ghost in the lavender sky. Everything is coming to a perfect, natural conclusion. You are the stillness at the center of the storm. You are the quiet after the song. Every atom of your being is at rest, vibrating in harmony with the ancient, steady rhythm of the earth. The palace is a dream you are leaving behind as you float toward a land of pure, golden light. There is no more darkness to fear, for you are the light itself. Sleep now, as the world begins its slow turn toward the day. Sleep now, for the journey is done. Good night. The whispers of the past are now becoming so faint that they are almost indistinguishable from the sound of your own breathing. We have journeyed through the damp corridors of history, felt the weight of leaden beauty, and watched the snow settle over silent empires. But as the dawn begins to break the hold of the night, the palace itself starts to change. The heavy stone walls are no longer barriers, they are becoming as light as the morning mist. Imagine the first gray light of the sun touching the very top of the highest tower. It is a light that does not burn, but gently strokes the cold granite, waking the building from its long, deep slumber. But you are not part of that awakening yet. You are still tucked away in the soft, dark folds of the night. Breathe in and feel the immense peace of having no place to be and no role to play. The history we have shared is now a finished book, its pages closed and its ink dry. The secrets of the unwashed queens and the fear of the water have dissolved into the vast ocean of time. As you drift on the silent sea, the stars are finally closing their eyes, one by one. The moon is a pale ghost in the lavender sky. Everything is coming to a perfect, natural conclusion. You are the stillness at the center of the storm. You are the quiet after the song. Every atom of your being is at rest, vibrating in harmony with the ancient, steady rhythm of the earth. The palace is a dream you are leaving behind as you float toward a land of pure, golden light. There is no more darkness to fear, for you are the light itself. Sleep now, as the world begins its slow turn toward the day. Sleep now, for the journey is done. Good night. The grand architecture of time, ancient echoes and eternal stillness. As the dawn continues to wait beyond the horizon, let us turn our minds to the very stones of the world, those silent witnesses to all of human history. Imagine a great, ancient cathedral or a forgotten temple, built thousands of years before the palaces we have explored. These buildings were made of mountain rock, carved by hand, and meant to stand forever. The air inside is cool, dry, and smells of dust and old incense. There are no people here, no kings, and no servants. There is only the long, rhythmic breathing of the stone itself. Breathe in slowly, and feel yourself becoming as solid and as steady as those ancient walls. Your worries are like the wind that blows against the stone. They may touch you for a moment, but they cannot move you. You are part of the architecture of time. In these grand halls, the light is always soft, filtered through high, narrow windows that have watched a million sunrises. The floors are worn smooth by the feet of generations long gone, but now, the only movement is the slow drift of dust motes in a beam of moonlight. Let your mind drift with them, weightless and free. There is no history here that needs to be remembered, no names that need to be spoken. Moving deeper into the silence, imagine a great bell tower, where the iron bell hangs heavy and still. It has not rung for a century, and its silence is a physical presence in the air. The ropes are dry and dusty, the wood of the beams is seasoned by age. This is the silence of things that have finished their work. You, too, have finished your work for today. You have listened, you have learned, and now, you are ready to rest. The stories of the unwashed queens, the leaden makeup, and the snowy gardens are all falling like leaves into a deep, dark well. They are gone, leaving only the quiet surface of the water. Now, imagine a vast, empty plain under a sky filled with more stars than you have ever seen. There are no buildings here, no palaces, and no temples. There is only the earth and the sky. The grass is tall and soft, moving in a slow wave under the midnight breeze. You are lying in this grass, looking up at the infinite dark. The universe is a giant clock that does not tick, it simply exists in a state of perfect balance. Every star is a reminder that the world is much larger than our small concerns. Every shadow is a reminder that rest is a natural part of life. Feel the coolness of the earth beneath you, supporting you, holding you. You are not a traveler anymore, you have arrived. The journey through the centuries has led you to this open field, where there is nothing but peace. Your heart is beating slowly, matching the steady rhythm of the spinning world. There is no morning coming to this plain, only an eternal, kind night. The air is clear and pure, carrying the scent of wild herbs and distant rain. Let this scent fill your mind and wash away the last traces of thought. You are dissolving into the landscape, becoming part of the wind, the grass, and the stars. The history of humanity is a tiny flicker in the distance, a fire that has burned down to its last ember. And now, even that ember is going out. There is only the dark. There is only the cool, kind silence. Sleep now, as the universe watches over you. Sleep now, as the time itself comes to a halt. Good night. Imagine we are now walking through the longest corridor of the palace, known as the Whispering Gallery. In the mid-19th century, this hall was famous for its strange acoustics. A tiny whisper at one end could be heard clearly at the other, hundreds of feet away. It was a place of secrets, where courtiers would stand in the shadows, hoping to catch a stray word from a passing queen. But tonight, there are no courtiers. The only whispers are those of the wind, brushing against the tall, arched windows. Breathe in deeply and let the absolute stillness of this gallery fill your mind. Every step you take on the cold marble floor is muffled by a thick layer of time. The statues of forgotten heroes that line the walls are covered in fine, gray dust, their stone eyes staring out into a world they no longer recognize. There is a profound beauty in this neglect, a sense that the world has finally stopped trying to be loud and is now content to be silent. As you move further down the hall, imagine the scent of old wood, cold stone, and the faint, sweet lingering of dried rose petals from a century ago. This is the scent of memory. The heavy wooden doors that lead to the private chambers are all locked now, their iron keys lost to the ages. Behind those doors, the rooms are empty, the furniture draped in white linen like ghosts waiting for a master who will never return. Feel the coolness of the air on your skin, a refreshing, clean chill that carries no burden of the day. You are the only living soul in this grand monument to the past. The history of humanity is like this gallery, long, echoing, and eventually falling into a beautiful silence. Your heart rate is slowing down, matching the slow, rhythmic dripping of a distant fountain in the courtyard. Every thought that once felt heavy is now as light as a dust mote, floating effortlessly in a sliver of moonlight. There is no past to regret and no future to fear, there is only this long, dark corridor and the peace it offers. The palace is no longer a place of power, it is a sanctuary of rest. The thick stone walls protect you from the noise of the modern world, creating a barrier of silence that nothing can break. Imagine the candles in the wall sconces have all burned down to nothing, leaving only the soft, silver glow of the stars to guide you. You are drifting, not walking, through these halls. Your limbs feel heavy and relaxed, as if you are becoming part of the very architecture of the building. The world outside is a distant memory, a flicker of light on a far horizon. Here, in the heart of the palace, time has stopped its relentless ticking. The clock in the tower has finally frozen, its hands pointing to a time that no longer exists. You are in the realm of the eternal night. Let the silence of the stone and the darkness of the hall wrap around you like a heavy velvet cloak. There is nothing left to say, nothing left to hear. The whispers of the gallery have faded into a single, low hum that lulls you into the deepest sleep. You are safe. You are home. You are silent. Now, leave the cold marble of the Whispering Gallery behind and imagine stepping out into the darkened courtyard, heading toward the royal stables. In the late 18th century, this was a place of constant motion, but at midnight, it becomes a cathedral of soft sounds and heavy breathing. The air here is warmer, thick with the scent of dry hay, oiled leather, and the powerful, earthy presence of the great horses. Imagine the sound of a single hoof striking a wooden floorboard, a dull, rhythmic thud that echoes in the stillness. These animals, once the pride of the empire, are now silent companions in the dark. Breathe in the warm, rustic air and feel a sense of primal safety. There is no politics here, no gold, and no complex history. There is only the simple, steady pulse of life. As you walk past the rows of wooden stalls, you can hear the soft rustle of straw as a horse shifts its weight in sleep. Their large, dark eyes reflect the faint glow of a distant lantern, watching you with a quiet wisdom that transcends time. The carriages, with their velvet seats and gilded wheels, sit motionless in the shadows, their long journeys through cobblestone streets finished for the night. Imagine the rhythm of a carriage ride, the swaying motion, the repetitive clatter of wheels, and let that same swaying motion enter your mind now. You are drifting, rocking slowly in the cradle of the night. The heavy iron stable doors are bolted shut, keeping the world out and the peace in. Outside, the night wind is sighing through the ancient oak trees, but inside, everything is still and protected. Your thoughts are becoming like the hay in the loft, soft, dry, and piled high in the dark. There is nothing you need to carry, nothing you need to lead. You are free to be as still as the sleeping horses. The history of the great kings who rode these animals into battle or through grand parades is just a whisper in the wind now. Those battles are over, the parades have ended, and the dust has settled. Every breath you take is synchronized with the slow, deep breathing of the stables. It is a heavy, grounding rhythm that pulls you down toward the earth. Your limbs feel as heavy as the iron horseshoes hanging on the wall, completely at rest and immovable. The darkness here is friendly and warm, a thick blanket that muffles all the noise of the waking world. Imagine the lantern light slowly fading as the oil runs dry, leaving only the scent of the wick and the velvet dark. You are safe in this sanctuary of straw and stone. The world of stone palaces and golden crowns is far away, replaced by the honest, quiet peace of the earth. Let yourself go into this warmth. Let the midnight silence of the stables become your own silence. The journey is slowing down, the wheels have stopped turning, and the night is yours to keep. Now, leave the warmth of the stables and let us drift back toward the palace, entering through the heavy service doors into the vast, stone-floored kitchens. In the 17th and 18th centuries, these rooms were the beating heart of the palace, a chaotic world of roaring fires, shouting cooks, and the heavy steam of thousand-dish feasts. But now, at 2 in the morning, the kitchens have transformed into a silent cathedral of copper and iron. The massive roasting spits, which once turned endlessly with the weight of great feasts, are now still. The huge copper pots, polished to a dull glow, hang silently from the rafters like sleeping bells. Breathe in the lingering scent of the air, a faint, comforting mixture of dried herbs, wood smoke, and the clean smell of scrubbed stone. There is no one here to work, no one to serve. The silence is thick and heavy, like a woolen blanket. Imagine the enormous fireplace, large enough to stand in, where the last embers are glowing a deep, soft orange. The heat is gentle now, a fading whisper of the day's fire. Sit for a moment on the worn wooden bench where a tired servant might have rested 100 years ago. Feel the absolute stillness of the objects around you. The heavy iron cleavers, the delicate silver spoons, and the rough ceramic jars are all at rest. To the people of the past, the kitchen was a place of survival and labor, but in this midnight hour, it is a place of profound peace. The rhythmic ticking of a small wall clock is the only sound, counting the seconds of a night that feels as though it will never end. Let that rhythmic sound pull you deeper into your own rest. Your thoughts are settling like the fine white ash in the hearth, light and still. The outside world, with its complex history and its loud demands, cannot enter these thick stone walls. Here, you are protected by the weight of the building itself. Imagine the shadows dancing slowly on the walls as the last ember fades. The darkness is not empty, it is full of the quiet dignity of a day's work finished. Every breath you take is slow and steady, matching the cooling of the stone. Your body feels heavy, as if you are sinking into the very floorboards of the palace. The history of the great banquets, the poison wines, and the secret conversations held over silver plates is all fading away. Those voices have been silent for centuries, and now, your mind can be silent too. The kitchen is cold now, but you are warm in your imagination, wrapped in the peace of a forgotten room. The night is a vast, open space where nothing is required of you. Let the copper pots and the stone walls watch over your rest. The palace is a giant, sleeping beast, and you are safe in its heart. Leave the cooling hearth of the kitchen behind and imagine climbing a narrow, winding stone staircase that leads to the very top of the palace towers. Each step is a journey further away from the earth and closer to the infinite silence of the stars. In the 18th century, astronomers and dreamers would come to these heights to study the heavens, away from the flickering candlelight of the courts below. As you step out onto the lead-covered roof, the cold night air hits your face like a fresh wave of water, clearing your mind of all remaining thoughts. Below you, the kingdom is hidden under a thick, rolling sea of silver mist. The streets, the houses, and the distant villages have all disappeared, leaving the palace floating like a stone island in a cloud of forgotten time. Breathe in this elevated, pure air and feel the immense scale of the night. There are no borders here, no laws, and no hierarchies. From this height, the grandest king and the humblest servant are both invisible, merged into the beautiful anonymity of the dark. Look up at the stars, those ancient, steady lights that have watched empires rise and fall without ever blinking. They offer a perspective that makes all human history seem like a single, quiet breath. Imagine the rhythm of the universe, a slow and majestic rotation that moves entire galaxies while you stand perfectly still. Your heartbeat is now a tiny echo of that cosmic pulse. Every tension you held in your body is being pulled away by the vast emptiness of the sky. You are weightless, drifting among the constellations. The heavy history of lead makeup, unwashed lace, and gilded prisons is far below you now, buried deep under the mist. Up here, there is only the wind and the light of dead stars. Let the silence of the heights settle into your soul. The world is a very large and very quiet place, and you are a peaceful part of it. The stone battlements are cold beneath your hands, a solid reminder that while the world changes, the essence of the night remains the same. You are safe on this high perch, protected by the distance and the dark. The city below will not wake for many hours, and until then, the night belongs to you. Let your mind become as vast as the horizon, stretching out into the blue-black infinity where there is no sound, no movement, and no worry. You are sinking into the sky, falling upward into the deepest rest. Now, leave the cold heights of the tower and drift back down, through the silent corridors, until you find yourself in the Queen's private dressing room. In the mid-18th century, this room was a sanctuary of vanity and ritual, filled with the scents of expensive powders, rose water, and the heavy fumes of lead-based paints. But now, in the middle of the night, the room is perfectly still. The central piece of furniture is a massive, ornate dressing table made of dark mahogany, topped with a silver-framed mirror that has watched generations of faces fade away. Imagine the surface of that mirror, cool, smooth, and deep like a dark lake. It has reflected the elaborate hairstyles we discussed, the pale white faces, and the tired eyes of those who wore the crown. But tonight, the mirror reflects only the darkness and the faint, blue light of the moon. Breathe in slowly and feel the weight of your own reflection, a quiet presence in a room that remembers everything. There is no one here to judge, no one to paint, and no one to dress. The heavy silk curtains at the windows are drawn tight, muffling any sound from the courtyard outside. Sit, in your mind, on the soft velvet stool before the table. Feel the absolute calm of being invisible. The history of the women who sat here, trapped in their corsets and their social roles, is now just a faint echo in the wood and the glass. They are gone, but the peace they searched for in the quiet hours of the night is here for you now. The small glass bottles on the table, once filled with rare perfumes and dangerous chemicals, are now empty and coated in a thin layer of silver dust. They catch the moonlight like tiny, forgotten stars. Let your thoughts become as still as the reflection in the glass. There is no movement, no change, and no hurry. Your body is sinking into the velvet, becoming part of the room's eternal furniture. Every breath you take is reflected in the silence. The mirror doesn't just show the past, it swallows the noise of the present, leaving you with nothing but the pure essence of the night. You are safe in this quiet chamber, protected by the memories of the stone and the silver. The world is a distant thought, a story told in another language. Here, there is only the cool glass, the dark wood, and the deepest rest you can imagine. Your mind is a blank surface, reflecting nothing but the peace of the infinite dark. Now, leave the quiet dressing room and drift toward the most grand and public space of the palace, the great banquet hall. In the mid-17th century, this room was a spectacle of light, noise, and excess. Hundreds of candles would drip wax onto silver platters, and the air would be thick with the smell of roasted meats, expensive wines, and the sweat of 1,000 courtiers. But tonight, at 3 in the morning, the hall is a cavern of absolute silence. The long oak tables, which once groaned under the weight of royal feasts, now stand empty and dark. Imagine the scale of this room. The ceiling is so high that it remains hidden in the shadows, a vast wooden sky that has absorbed the echoes of centuries of laughter and music. Breathe in the cool, dry air and feel the immense weight of the stillness. There is no music playing now, no clinking of crystal glasses, and no whispered scandals. The only sound is the rhythmic, heavy silence of the architecture itself. Walk, in your mind, across the vast expanse of the polished stone floor. Your footsteps make no sound as you pass the tall, cold windows where the moonlight paints long, silver rectangles on the ground. These windows have watched the world change from a time of swords and horses to the world you know now, yet inside these walls, nothing has changed. The history of the great feasts, the elaborate sugar sculptures, the peacocks served in their feathers, and the endless toasts to long-dead kings, is all just a layer of dust on the rafters. Sit on the cold stone bench by the wall and look out across the empty hall. In this darkness, the room doesn't feel empty, it feels full of the peace that comes after a long, loud story has finally ended. Your body is sinking into the shadows, becoming as still and as permanent as the stone walls. Every breath you take is slow, deep, and steady, filling your lungs with the calm of a forgotten era. There is no one to impress here, no role to play, and no etiquette to follow. You are just a soul in a silent room, safe from the noise of the living. The grand tapestries on the walls, depicting scenes of ancient hunts and forgotten gods, are now just gray shapes in the dark. They are resting, just as you are. The history of the palace is a heavy book that has been closed for the night. Let your thoughts become as still as the air in this hall. There is no motion, no light, and no hurry. You are drifting into a sleep that is as deep and as vast as the hall itself. The shadows are your friends, wrapping around you like a heavy, protective blanket. You are safe in the heart of the past, at rest in the banquet of shadows. Imagine we are now ascending a secret, wooden spiral staircase hidden behind a heavy velvet curtain. This leads to the very heart of the palace's timekeeping, the clockmaker's tower. In the late 17th century, clocks were the ultimate symbols of power and precision. The king's personal clockmaker lived in a small, cramped room surrounded by thousands of tiny gears, springs, and brass pendulums. As you enter this room at 3 in the morning, the air is dry and smells of old oil, cold metal, and aged parchment. There are no people here now, only the rhythmic, overlapping ticking of a dozen different machines. Breathe in this mechanical silence. It is a world governed by laws that never change. Each tick is a small, sharp reminder that the chaos of history is actually built on a foundation of perfect order. Imagine the massive main clock of the palace, its gears as large as wagon wheels, turning with a slow, grinding dignity. Every tooth of every gear has been polished by hand, designed to move in a cycle that outlasts human lives. The history of the court, the noisy scandals, the heavy makeup, and the golden feasts, is all measured by these silent, spinning circles of brass. Sit on the high wooden stool and let the repetitive sound of the ticking enter your heart. It is not a fast sound, it is the slow, steady heartbeat of the building itself. Your thoughts are beginning to sync with the gears. One tick, and a worry disappears. Another tick, and a memory fades. You are becoming a part of the machine, a silent observer of the passing seconds. The darkness in the tower is thick and protective, lit only by the faint silver light hitting the brass surfaces. There is no morning here, only the eternal present. Feel the weight of the stone walls around you, holding the vibration of the clocks. You are safe in the center of time, where nothing is lost and nothing is rushed. Now, let us descend from the tower and move into the grand library, a room that has not been opened for 100 years. The air here is heavy and still, thick with the scent of old leather bindings, drying glue, and the sweet, earthy smell of decaying paper. This is the place where the thoughts of the past are kept in silent rows. In the mid-18th century, these books were the only windows to the outside world, containing maps of distant lands and the forbidden ideas of philosophers. But tonight, the books are just heavy blocks of silence. Imagine the rows and rows of gold-lettered spines, stretching up into the darkness of the ceiling. As you walk down the center aisle, your mind becomes as quiet as the unread pages. There are no stories being told here, only the potential for stories. The history of humanity is written in these books, the wars, the inventions, the leaden beauty, but it is all locked away in the dark. Sit in the oversized leather armchair, its surface cracked and soft like old skin. Feel the absolute isolation of this room. The thick carpets muffle the sound of the world outside, creating a vacuum of peace. Every breath you take is a quiet conversation with the ghosts of the writers. They have said everything they had to say, and now they are content to be silent. Your body is becoming as heavy as a leather-bound folio, sinking into the cushions, merging with the shadows of the shelves. There is no light to read by, and that is a gift. You don't need to know anything, you only need to be. The library is a sanctuary of forgotten knowledge, and you are its only guest. Let the silence of the books wrap around you like a heavy, dusty cloak. Finally, let us move to the most silent place of all, the royal chapel. In the 18th century, this was a place of intense ritual, filled with the smoke of incense and the chanting of choirs. But at 4 in the morning, it is a hollow shell of stone and stained glass. The air is cold and pure, carrying the faint, clean scent of beeswax and old stone. Imagine the massive columns of white marble, rising up like trees in a petrified forest. The altar, once covered in gold and jewels, is now a dark silhouette in the gloom. Sit on the hard wooden pew and let the chill of the stone ground you. There is a profound stillness here, a sense that the world has finally reached its destination. The history of the kings who knelt here, praying for power or forgiveness, is now just a shadow on the floor. Their crowns are gone, their voices are silent, and only the stone remains. The moonlight through the high windows is filtered into pale, ghostly colors, blues and purples that dance slowly across the altar. This is the final rest. Every tension in your shoulders has dissolved into the cold air. Your mind is as empty and as sacred as the chapel itself. There is no one to listen to your prayers, and you have no prayers to offer. You are simply existing in the presence of the infinite. The darkness is a soft, deep ocean that has swallowed the palace and its history. You are drifting on the surface of that ocean, weightless and free. The world will wake soon, but not yet. For now, there is only the chapel, the clocks, and the silence. Sleep now, for the night has reached its deepest point. Good night. Now, let us step out of the heavy stone chapel and wander into the most hidden part of the palace grounds, the secret garden. In the 17th century, this was a place of forbidden meetings and whispered promises, surrounded by high walls of ivy and iron. But tonight, it is a world of silver and shadow. The air is cool and damp, filled with the intoxicating scent of night-blooming jasmine and wet earth. Imagine the narrow gravel paths crunching softly under your feet, the only sound in the midnight air. This garden does not belong to the sun, it belongs to the moon. The fountains, which were once the center of grand garden parties, are now silent, their marble basins filled with still water that reflects the stars like dark mirrors. The statues of ancient gods are half hidden in the overgrown hedges, their mossy faces looking peaceful in the gloom. Breathe in the deep, botanical silence. You are far away from the palace walls now, far away from the history of kings and the weight of gold. Here, nature is slowly reclaiming the stone. Feel your mind becoming as quiet as the sleeping lilies on the pond. There is no movement here, only the slow growth of the vines and the silent descent of the dew. You are part of the garden now, rooted in the cool earth, breathing with the trees. The darkness is a soft, living thing that protects you from the world outside. Return now, one last time, to the palace, and enter the long gallery of portraits. In the 18th century, this hall was a display of ego and power, filled with the faces of those who ruled the world. But in the dim light of 4 in the morning, the faces in the frames seem to be fading back into the canvas. The heavy oil paintings, once bright with red velvets and gold lace, are now just shades of gray and charcoal. Imagine the eyes of 100 ancestors watching you as you pass, but they are not watching with judgment anymore, they are watching with a shared sense of exhaustion. The history of these people, their wars, their loves, and their leaden masks of beauty, is now just a collection of drying paint. The frames are cracked, the varnish is yellowed, and the names on the brass plates are barely readable. Sit on the velvet bench in the center of the gallery and let the weight of these centuries settle around you. You don't need to remember who they were. Their stories have already been told and forgotten. Your own story is also becoming quiet, a single thread in a vast, dark tapestry. Feel the stillness of the air, undisturbed by the breath of the living. The gallery is a tunnel through time, leading you away from the noise of life and into the silence of eternity. Your eyelids are becoming as heavy as the gilded frames, and your thoughts are dissolving into the dark colors of the paintings. Finally, imagine yourself walking toward the great iron gates of the palace. The night is at its deepest point, that final hour before the sun even considers rising. The heavy chains on the gates are rusted and still, and the stone lions that guard the entrance are covered in silver frost. You are leaving the palace behind, the kitchens, the libraries, the clocks, and the crowns. They are all becoming part of a landscape of dreams. As you step beyond the gates, the world opens up into a vast, empty horizon of soft hills and quiet woods. The history we have explored is now a distant light on a hill, a fire that has almost burned out. You are walking into the pure, unwritten darkness of the forest. The air is cold and sweet with the smell of pine and ancient moss. There is no path here, and you do not need one. You are simply drifting with the wind, moving toward a state of perfect, absolute peace. The world of humans is finished. The world of stone and gold is gone. There is only the heartbeat of the earth and the infinite reach of the stars. Every part of you is now at rest. Your journey through the centuries has come to its natural end. The silence is no longer something you hear, it is something you are. Let the night take you completely. Let the dream begin. Sleep. Sleep.